It seems like when it comes to the entertainment industry nowadays, everybody wants their grubby little fingers in the pie that is the multiverse. The Flash, Loki, Fiona and Cake, Sonic Prime, hell, the 2023 Oscar winner for Best Motion Picture went to a movie about the multiverse, and it's one of the greatest movies I have ever seen in my entire life. I'm sure people are sick of hearing about the multiverse just as much as they're sick of hearing people complain about the multiverse. But I do find it a little ironic that a show about cartoon horses made it to the multiverse trend as early as 2013, before the rest of the entertainment industry, well, for the lack of a better term, started beating that dead horse themselves. Between television episodes, movies, specials, and comics, My Little Pony has quite an expansive and complicated multiverse. This series' multiverse is so well developed that it can retroactively explain away any lingering issues people have with its follow-up generation. What do I mean by this? Well, all will be answered and more as I take a journey through the My Little Pony multiverse. I am already tired of saying that word. Before I can get into the specifics or the nitty-gritty, I first need to talk about the two types of universes present in the My Little Pony multiverse. To make it simple, I'm just going to call it parallel universes and alternate realities. To explain parallel universes, think of eating breakfast. Let's say you were presented with two options, pancakes or muffins. That option has now created two parallel universes where you made one decision or the other. This concept can be seen in the season 5 finale, The Cutie Remark, where Starlight Glimmer goes into the past to change the outcome of the main six's Cutie Mark bond, resulting in a variety of new presents that are in disarray. A more simpler example that does not require time travel is in the official My Little Pony manga. This is real and we're going to be seeing it quite a bit in this video. In the first chapter, we see Twilight, Pinkie, and Spike visit an alternative Equestria that's exactly the same, with the only difference being that some pony came up with a better brownie recipe. Alternative realities, on the other hand, are their own unique thing, not derivative of our own main universe. It operates on entirely different rules. Listen, I know the terminologies can technically be synonyms for one another, but just for the sake of this video, just bear with me. Obviously, the big example I'm sure you all have seen is Equestria Girls. Entire countries from Equestria are reduced to mere school districts in the human world, and science is what dictates the laws of its universe, with magic being a foreign concept. But the most unique change between universes are the characters' ages. The main six are somewhere around their early to mid-20s, with Rainbow Dash in the episode Pinkie's Pride having 20 candles on her cake. They can get married, open businesses, buy a house, get a doctorate, and even run a country. But in the human world, they are all aged down to be somewhere between the ages of 16 to 18. And we know Equestria has a standard K-12 school system since Twilight went to Magic Kindergarten, so they are in fact younger between worlds. But you'd think this would remain consistent amongst all the characters, right? No! The CMC and other kindergarten age characters are made older to be somewhere in their freshman year. The human counterparts of Celestia and Luna obviously aren't 1,000 years old, they're somewhere in their 40s. But what I find most shocking is Cheerilee, who despite being shown to be the same age as Rarity, as they both went to the same grade together as foals, the human counterpart is not only older, but a teacher too. This human reality is so different from the pony one that neither could have been a deviation of the other. So we know what two types of universes we can expect to see, but how does a character in My Little Pony travel between them? Well, there are a couple different ways. Spells or magical creatures have been shown to travel between realities via opening portals or ripping reality. We mainly see characters like Star Swirl and Discord do this. All other forms of transportation are usually found through gateways, which usually take the form of magic mirrors or are hidden in objects. It's unknown if these gateways are created or are a natural phenomena, but they are seen most frequently to connect the pony world to the human world. If one were to step through one of these gateways, their bodies would take the physical form of the closest equivalent to themselves. So when Pony Twilight steps through the portal, she takes the form of the human Twilight that already exists, and vice versa. This sounds simple enough, but if we poke our head into the My Little Pony manga a bit more, it gets a little crazy. See, in the manga, Twilight was given a second magic mirror. You can tell it's different due to its unique design, but this time it has access to infinite realities. Twilight describes these realities as parallel, but
but that seems to only be based on the limited number of worlds we see, all being closely pony related. But at the end of the manga, we actually see human Pinkie Pie step through the mirror and remain completely unchanged, but that likely has to do with the spell Twilight casted to summon every alternative Pinkie Pie. The manga also introduces us to Dr. Hooves, and not the wacky scientist we see in the 100th episode special, but a full-blown parody of the Doctor from Doctor Who, complete with a female companion and a tiny time machine that is bigger on the inside. In here, we see him travel throughout the multiverse to save Pinkie Pie from a zombie universe. The Doctor actually explains to Twilight that he comes from a world with more advanced science and magic. This doesn't confirm or deny the possibility of the main universe Doctor going on similar adventures, however the Doctor was barred from entering the time machine when he wanted to look around, take that as you will. Going a bit into theory territory, this actually reminds me of an actual episode of Doctor Who. In the episode Human Nature, the Doctor suppresses his memories and Time Lord powers by using a device known as the chameleon circuit to hide from the family of blood, leading him to live his life as a normal man for a short period of time. Dr. Hooves in the show actually seems to have very vague, foggy memories of his past, and when confronted with his multiversal equivalent, he doesn't even seem to recognize himself. This could mean that the Doctor we see is currently using the chameleon circuit. And look at that, in the Doctor's dreams, we see a weeping angel, an iconic monster from the show, and probably a faint memory. In Doctor Who, the Doctor can't actually travel between the multiverse unless there was something that intentionally bridged two universes, which given how there are many of these gateways in Equestria, it's still technically lore accurate. The multiverse existing in My Little Pony is important because there's a lot of debates on questionable canonicity in the franchise. There's a lot of conflicting information and supplementary material, so you can just chalk up anything confusing as being somewhere out in the multiverse. This includes that My Little Pony and Transformers crossover comic, which I so desperately want to be canon, you guys, please. I was gonna spend the rest of this video listing off literally every time the multiverse was used in My Little Pony, but I don't want this to be one of those comics explain channels. I recommend you reading the comics yourself, My Little Pony Generations and the manga especially, but what I am going to do instead is propose a theory that works perfectly in line with the theme of this video. Yeah, 2 theories for the price of 1. How do you like that, main theory? I propose that the 5th generation of My Little Pony is not a continuation of season 9 of Friendship is Magic, but in fact a parallel timeline after the events of season 4. If you don't know, Warner Bros. Discovery owns the latter half of Friendship is Magic, which caused a variety of copyright issues when it comes to distribution of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic on streaming platforms. If you watch My Little Pony Friendship is Magic on Netflix right now, you can only watch the first 4 seasons. That's because those are the only seasons Hasbro solely owns. During the production of My Little Pony A New Generation, there was already a pretty heavy licensing fee to use anything from Generation 4. Imagine trying to get another massive conglomerate involved to do anything else. That's why when a character like Twilight appears, it uses her younger appearance rather than her older one, and when a character like Spike appears, they use an entirely original design instead of the one from the actual show. Every notable reference of Generation 4 is restricted to just the first 4 seasons. Now some of you may object and mention the G5 IDW comics, where we see those late series versions of the characters that WBD would have owned. For starters, the comics are not canonical. The events that happen in them are way too big for them not to be mentioned in the TV series, if they were canon. Secondly, companies can own different aspects of an IP. For example, before Disney bought Fox, they owned the comic and TV rights to the X-Men, just not the film rights. So Hasbro could own exclusive rights to the content in later seasons when it comes to merge or comics. The only argument that could deflect this theory are the trinkets from the latter half of Friendship is Magic seen in the background of a few shots, but I doubt they ever copyrighted these ancillary objects. These are more or less just fun Easter eggs and dedicated lore drops. I'm sure they wanted it to be a continuation of season 9, but it obviously didn't go in that direction. I always pondered what a dedicated Spider-Verse level crossover would look like in My Little Pony, and this opens up the door to so many possibilities. But with the current state of the series being heavily Gen 4 focused, I highly doubt we'd see anything like that in the future. This video could theoretically go on for hours, but I'm gonna cut it here just for my own sake. But I wanted to end this video on a fun fact I didn't know would have fit anywhere else. When researching different crossovers for My Little Pony, I discovered it's only a few degrees of separation removed from Mortal Kombat. My Little Pony crossed over with Transformers in Magic of Cybertron, Transformers crossed over with Marvel Comics in New Avengers / Transformers, Marvel Comics crossed over with DC Comics in DC vs. Marvel, and finally DC Comics crossed over with Mortal Kombat in Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe. In conclusion, add Pinkie Pie to Mortal Kombat 1, you cowards! But that's all I have for today. I've been May, and I'll see you next time.